My name is Ben Jorgensen. I'm the CEO of Constellation Network. You probably haven't heard of us. We're a Web3 ecosystem, and I think Chris actually just teed me up really nicely about fulfilling the promises of Web3. I think I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And I think this is actually, I sat through all the talks today, and I actually got kind of nervous to do this talk. I'm sitting here with policymakers, and I'm hearing about regulation, and I'm the cavalier. I'm the one building these things, and it makes me nervous to talk about this. And at the same time, I think that's the mentality of what this industry brings. It brings something new. It's exciting. It's innovative. Coming from California all the way to DC, I feel like I'm still just waking up right now, and it's hard for me to have these conversations around what regulation, what can you do, what can't you do, and I'm like, dude, we're trying to build something amazing. So from a builder's perspective, I thought I'd just share a little bit of what we're seeing. And the huge opportunities exist when we can get out of the way of just looking at regulation and how do we really hone in on controlling entrepreneurs, and everything's, it's crazy, there's evil, there's crookedness going on, but there's so much good happening. And it's here today. We're not here to talk about whether Web3 is actually going to happen. It's happening. And people are running at full sprint. It's happening every day. Sit down with a 24-year-old and he'll explain to you, or she'll explain to you, what DeFi is and run circles around you. So whatever regulation you're thinking, a 24-year-old sitting there telling me how to create a Panama shell corporation that has decentralized governance, but yet he can still live in Texas. That's on the horizon, and they just want to build. They want to build these ecosystems. They want to build passive income for themselves. They don't want to follow a narrative that they've been bred into. Oh, when you get 30, then you can get a mortgage and you're going to have more debt. They're not thinking that way. They're thinking of how do you go full speed ahead? How do you bring abundance into your life in a completely different mindset? And it's fun, it's energetic. But we're also seeing, on the other hand, we're seeing a complete mockery of our financial institution. AMG, GameStop, that just kicked off yesterday. Again, seeing 86% returns in a day. Meme coins being minted on networks like Constellation to make a mockery of the financial institutions that we all live in because of how cumbersome and slow they are from a regulatory standpoint. Now, I'm not here to make fun of the financial institutions and all the regulatory red tape, but I will tell you, from being a founder and entrepreneur and building our own blockchain in the United States, it's been one of the most painful 6 to 7 years of my life. And I also co-own 2 restaurants in San Francisco, so I just kind of think that I'm a glutton for punishment in these days and find the 2 hardest veins of being an entrepreneur. It's been so difficult. But that being said, I think what Constellation is doing is actually building a blockchain movement in America. I believe that America has so much to offer. I don't want to move to Puerto Rico for a tax purpose, tax haven. I want to build here. I want to build with the entrepreneurs, the innovation that exists in the world, and we're doing that. Why you've never heard of Constellation is because the last 5 years we've been working with the federal government on innovative ways to leverage distributed networking. Using distributed networking as security by design, securely passing and sharing information between different workflows across different organizations. And they see this as really pivotal technology that's going to surpass adversaries. And there's a real concern. One of the representatives was talking about if we're behind. We're way behind. We're 5 years behind. Now, I'm not saying we should catch up to what China's doing on the blockchain. That's complete invasion of privacy in so many different ways. But we're behind most countries because we're lagging. And entrepreneurs are not wanting to lag. They're still building. They're full speed ahead. We're working with the federal government across so many initiatives around not just using digital assets, but taking data as your digital asset. Data now becomes your digital asset. How do we securely transfer that between people and organizations to usher in this autonomous world that we live in? We are living in a world where all computers will programmatically operate with each other. They will execute automated actions or data dependencies across each other? How do we know that that data is valid when it goes in? How do we know that wasn't manipulated? How do we know an adversary didn't instill propaganda into some AI and start manipulating our complete structure and governance of culture here? Like, these are real concerns that we're having, and we're still talking about regulation on digital assets. I'm so thankful that we have groups like the Chamber that are lobbying on our behalf, on the entrepreneurs' behalf. We don't have time to do this. We're building, and we're building things that really matter. We're starting to see people actually not just talk about what this technology can do, but we're actually seeing people do fascinating things. I'm part of the National DigiFoundry, a new group that was funded by the National Science Foundation, and they wanted to build a DAO on Constellation's network, a tokenized DAO where they use tokens to vote. They get tokens upon their membership dues. And the DAO started with the founder. The founding team is the US Department of Treasury. It's NASA, it's Microsoft, it's IBM. It's a mix of enterprise and commercial individuals looking at other use cases to accelerate the growth of blockchain technology. So we're here, we're doing stuff. And so I don't know why we're always still talking about, like, oh, when is it going to happen? What if we could do this? Like, you know, we have an expression at Constellation is that blockchain and crypto is like having iced tea. You need to have both the tea and the ice. And yet we spend so much time just talking about the ice when it's really the ice and the tea. We're doing some amazing things here, and I'm asking everybody to look beyond where we are today and go, okay, this future is going to happen. Younger generations are adopting it. They look at passive income as a surefire way to have job security in the future when they don't know if they can get a job tomorrow and right out of college. We're seeing trends happening in digital sharing and information. We're seeing AI become the biggest thing that we've ever seen. We're seeing trillion-dollar industries happen overnight. We're seeing 5 companies within the top 10 of assets be all digitally based. Google, Apple, NVIDIA, and Bitcoin. Of the top 10 assets in the world, they all revolve around data. Like, this is a steamship that's not just stopping, it's actually getting stronger, and there are trillions of dollars, multi-trillion dollars going behind this entire movement. So I'm excited about the future. I think it's amazing. I try not to get scared about the regulatory uncertainty, and I'm trusting that groups come forward and represent us entrepreneurs to do this, because not all the Uniswaps or Consensus or Coinbases can do all the fighting. I mean, they help, but we also get picked on too. So I guess it's not so much of a call to action, just as something before lunch that you feel a little more positive about the world, that things are moving in this direction. It's not just about digital assets. It's also about the potential of this technology of creating sovereignty, owning your data. Where does this data go? Look at this future of possibilities that comes around data. It's going to be a cool world. So thank you all. Have a good day.